Hello everyone, I'm Diane. Welcome to my channel, Beyond the Sewing Room. I thought I'd have a little catch up this week and show you what I've been up to and a few things coming up that I plan to make. So it's been a couple of weeks, been quite busy. All of the wedding making is done now. So if you've been watching my channel, you'll know that I've been doing some sewing over this past year for upcoming wedding, which is this week. My son's getting married. And all of that is finished and gone. The last little job that I had to do was, this sounds a little crazy, I know, but my dog is going to the wedding because it is a woodlands kind of theme. A lot of it is outdoors and there are a few dogs who are going as guests during the day. There is rooms to put them in at various points, obviously, because we're staying in a room overnight. But yeah, there's going to be a few dogs there and the family dog included. And I've just made something for him. So I'll share that with you in a moment. And my outfit is all complete. That was completed a few weeks ago. I was going to make a jacket to go with it, but then I found one secondhand, which I did mention. I'm not going to share that today because hopefully next week I'll be able to share a couple of photographs with you all. So I'll show you then. But I have made something else for myself this week, a little bit of scrap busting. And what I used this week for this week's make was Friday Pattern Company. So it's this one right here, and it's the Donny shirt. So I have made this one before. I got the opportunity to work on this for work and I really liked it, and I didn't make my size at the time, but this time I've chosen to make one for me. Used up some scrap fabric, and it's not a fabric I would usually go for, but now that I've made it up, I really love it. So it was just a small piece that was left over, and in true fashion, like I normally do, didn't have enough facings, so I've just used something else. I just used a plain colour. So I'll show you that first of all, and I'll also insert a few images of me with it on. So this is my view. Now I did make some trousers in this again for a work project, and there was a small piece left, but as you can see it's quite a crop shirt. It doesn't come up here, it sits above your trousers, or sort of on your trousers, and it's loose. So if you look at the back, you've got a gathered yoke in the back just there, so it hangs away from you, so it's a loose fitting shirt. And then we've got the double yoke, so I've done mine black on the inside, and then you have this nice collar just here, and it doesn't fasten up the front, look, it's just stitched. And then you've got this top stitching, which I don't know if you can see because it's quite dark. So this is a woven crepe, a little bit of stretch to it. And as I said, I used this for making some trousers for work and then had this small piece left. And usually, unless it's like a dark background with like bright colours on like the one I'm wearing today, it's usually not me to pick something so dark. But I saw it and I thought, I think that'll look really nice. I mean, I have got some taupe coloured trousers that I made recently. I've got a black skirt. It would go with quite a few things actually. And I wore it twice already and I really like it. So it just shows you, not always like the bright bold prints that you think that you love if you go for something and try something a little bit different sometimes. Obviously I didn't have any outlay to try this because I already had this piece left. But it just goes to show, not always what you think. I really like it. I probably like it better than some of the more outlandish, bright, bold things that I've made in the past. And yeah, one that I will make again. I did make the smallest size because it is a boxy, oversized fit. And as you can see, even in the smallest size for me, that is very roomy. And of course, the back is a little bit shaped, look, that stands away from you. But yeah, really like it, really happy with it. Enjoyed making it. It's a nice construction process in the instructions inside these. They are nice patterns of Friday Pattern Company. I mean, okay, they're more expensive than the big four, but depends on the level of instructions you want. I don't really need that detailed instruction, but it is nice to have it there. And quite nice branding as well, I think. So that might be one to try if you want a nice, loose, casual shirt, but you don't want a button-up one. You just want one that's the look of a shirt, but without all the fasteners. That might be for you. So next up, I'm going to show you what I made for my dog. So I did this yesterday and he's got a new collar. Well, I made him a new collar in this print. I have made him one in this print before, but as they're only made from scraps, I mean, I fold it up lots of times to make it nice and thick, and then I put all the, you know, the hardware on it. So it's like a proper collar. And you can wash them I've washed them a few times, but then after a while, because they're not canvas, they are just what, sateen. This one is sateen, cotton sateen. Eventually, you know, you need to replace them. But it's not wasteful because these are scraps I'm using anyway, so they would have been thrown out, only I hang on to them all and make things with them. So it's not wasteful. But yeah, I've made him another one in this. I've made him the dicky bow tie, which I've made a loop on the back, look. So that slides on, so on the day you can have that on his collar as well, which matches. So that's the first thing, which might sound a little crazy, but I just thought it was nice just to have on for the day. And then a new dog coat, because it is November. We're going to be out a lot of the time in the daytime, and I thought it might get cool. And I've used this green, because a lot of the party are in green, especially the men. And I've used the trim on the edge, look, just to edge it. It has a little collar. It's got the zip there already in it where the harness comes through. And on the inside, it's like this. I'm getting caught on myself now, look, with Velcro. So what I did this time, I have made dog coats in the past. I had one which was just a really inexpensive one that we bought. We bought two when we were away once because our older dogs that are no longer with us, we bought them for them and they were matching. They were quite thin, waterproof but really thin, but with this on the inside. So what I've done, I've cut round in this, again, a scrap piece of cord, and I've cut out the pieces for the collar. I unpicked the Velcro so that I could reuse that, and then I cut out all this binding for around the edge. And what I've done is I've stitched it over the top. So I've made a case for the neck bit here, slipped that over and stitched that on. I've made this and bound it all the way around, and then I've hand stitched it to the inside like this. So I'm reusing the old coat, but now it looks like a smart new coat. But it's still got that waterproof in between, and it's still got the waterproof in between on this part as well, because that bit is inside there. So while the outer will get damp to the touch when it gets wet, it won't get wet on the body, and it will dry off properly afterwards, in case you're wondering, because I have done this before. So they dry off just the same. It's just that you're keeping that waterproof, but you're adding something over the top just to make it look nicer. So that's an idea. If you've got dogs and you've got coats and you're thinking, these are looking a bit past their best, but they still serve a function, you could just buy a piece of fabric, cut round it, and just make like a new shell for it. And that way you still get to use all the bits like the zip opening here and the pattern for the template. You still get to use the insulation, the wadding and everything, but you're making it look like a whole new thing. So that's what he'll be wearing, his little coat with his collar and his dicky bow. So that might sound a little bit crazy, but if you're a dog lover, you'll completely understand. So that's what he's going to be wearing next week. And then the next thing that I want to talk to you about is I've ordered some fabric. I say ordered because you're never entirely sure if you're going to get it, because it's sort of first come, first serve, and how many places are available. So I work for Minerva, but I'm also a brand ambassador. So every now and again you get a chance to choose some fabric from their range and then you post about it. So this time I've gone for one in a burgundy colour, and I thought I would make a trench coat style, but not a really long one, maybe one that's above the knee or even just mid-thigh. But that's something that I thought I might like to do. I did make a trench coat from the named pattern. I made this a few years ago for a sample, so it wasn't for me. I made it in this very colour and I made it this length. Very involved make and a lot to it, but I would never wear one that long. It would drive me crazy. So I would want it sort of up here, so that would mean I wouldn't have all these buttons. So I have toyed with the idea of making this one again. It has got all the traditional details on it, and the bits for around the sleeves and the front flaps. The only thing with this is they are quite shaped, and I wonder if I'm standing up a little bit whether they would annoy me if I was wearing it every day. And then you've got the cape back. Obviously they won't want lots of people duplicating the same thing to show, so we will see. But if I do, I thought possibly that one, or I'd marked this one a while ago in one of my old bird magazines, so I'd put trench coat there because this is another one that I'd seen. So I'll just show you the one that's in here. So this one hasn't got as much going on, and I have thought about doing this one before and then I think talked myself out of it. So as you can see, we've got this one. In this particular picture, this one doesn't have a belt, but of course you can make a belt with anything, so you could add a belt to it and belt loops. It has got the fasteners at the sleeve, but it hasn't got them at the shoulder there. We also haven't got any of the flaps at the front. Would I feel better without that, or would it just feel like it's got something missing? So I suppose that one is more of just a plain Mac, I suppose you could say. It is classed as a trench coat, but it isn't there, but it is in the front when it's like showing you different things and different style things about it. So I don't know, I'm thinking, is this one too plain? And has that one got too much going on? I'm not sure. I could do something in between, couldn't I? So that's the other thought. And which bird is that from? Let me have a look. Oh, that one is 2021, so I've had this one a while. And that one is August. So it's August 2021. So if you've got it at home, it's this one right here. Dropping it on the floor. So I'll pop that back in so I remember which one it is. Oh look, I've wrote it on here. I wrote it on my patterns. So I have made a few things out of this one before, and the tissue paper ones I've put back in there. I tend to just keep them with the magazine. So that's just a couple of ideas to do for that. Now, the other thing is that I want to buy myself a few pieces of fabric, but I'm trying to be more thoughtful about what I buy. So I have got quite a few things in my wardrobe now that I do keep things a long time. I've had quite a few years, but some things I feel don't suit me like they once did. I do keep them a long time, and because they're handmade, I am quite attached to them. So because of this, I've had a few things. Like there was a pair of trousers, which apparently are now in. They're checked, but they've also got a bit of a flower in here and there. I spent a lot of time on them. They fit really well, but I never really wore them because I felt a bit odd in them because there was this check. And now apparently these check trousers are all in. But for me, I just didn't feel right in them. So they have been put away. And then I did think I really ought to pass these on. But because I was so attached to them, because of the work I put into them and they were such a good fit, I've just sort of held on to them, which I know sounds odd, but if you make your own clothes, you'll probably understand this. It is quite, and this is a good thing. It's difficult to just discard things as you would if you were just buying things, I think, from a shop. But at the same time, that can create sort of hoarding of things that you don't wear anymore. So I've got a couple of things like that now. Also, a few things that I feel they were a little shorter than I'd like to wear now, so I probably won't wear those, but I just end up folding them up and putting them in the out of season box. So I think that's just something I've got to work on. But yes, I do want to replace a couple of pieces, but I want to think very carefully before I just buy the fabric. And I also want to make sure that they go with other things that I've already got or things that I'm planning to make. So more on that as I put a little collection together of things that I want to make. And I will maybe do myself a little mood board, a few fabric choices, a few ideas, and then I'll share that with you in future. So yeah, a little think about that. But plans for now are the trench coat if that fabric arrives, and then one remaining piece. This was the bit that was going to be my jacket for my wedding outfit, but then I decided on something different and also decided that I felt this wasn't very wedding-y after all, but more wintry. So I did buy myself this, you may have seen if you've been around, about a month, 2 months ago, to make like a little Chanel style jacket. I've got more than enough to do something bigger than that actually. So I think I will still make myself a winter jacket with it, but I just haven't decided on a pattern. So that's the other thing. So that's me all caught up. I hope you're doing well wherever you are and enjoying your sewing this week. And I'll be back soon. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye for now.